Thank you.
Okay, while we got everybody clapping, Jen Hillis provided the food once again. Phenomenal
Thank you, Jen.
Food.
Thank you.
In case you guys didn't notice, there was even a vegan selection in there. In case you guys were wondering, there was a vegan selection. Take it off.
Oh, sure.
Michael.
Okay, for our last comic, we're going to review Courtney Crumrin and the Night Things. And to be honest, I wasn't looking forward to reading it. But when I did, because I only like, Wolverine and X-Force.
This is for girls.
Yeah. But when I did read it, honestly, it's excellent. This guy, Ted Naifeh, excellent writer. It's about Courtney Crumrin gets asked to babysit a baby who ends up being switched around with what's called a changeling. Yeah. And she ends up going to this demon dimension to try and get her back. But it is witty, it's funny. I think those mean the same thing. It's scary, great art. And Dale, you've got the trade there with all the issues. You can take it from there.
This is the trade. Since then, he's done at least 2 other collections with the same character, who's, she goes to live with her parents, with their great uncle, who turns out to be a warlock. She learns from him how to be a witch. It's funny, sarcastic. She's really biting. It's again about how to fit in, and instead of trying to fit in, she takes it back to her.
So it's based on a true story, basically, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, George?
God exists. No, it's first person in that kind of Nancy Drew way, but it's what I really like about it is Mike Mignola is one of my favorite artists of all time, and here's someone who is completely influenced by not just Mike Mignola but other people as well, but you see little hints of it. And here is this really dark, grim art style, stuff that like Neil Gaiman and Dave McKean have done as like children's books and stuff like that, where you're no longer just insulting the child by going like, only good girls go potty in the potty, and this is like something that is not insulting. Like I can enjoy this, like it's really good.
This is for kids.
Absolutely.
It is for kids.
Absolutely.
And adults though, right?
Yeah. But he actually says in the introduction that the only children's stories that are truly classic, timeless, and beloved are also subversively honest about life's ugliness. And he does that. He pulls on lots of fairy tales. And fairy tales aren't happy. They're not. No. Unless Disney gets a hold of them.
Yes.
But they're not. Bad things happen to kids.
Of course.
He deals with that. Like, things are ugly. And it's very much about what's scary in the world. That's what I like about all 3 of these books is they don't dumb things down for kids.
You got to pay your bills. Life sucks. Get a job.
Yes.
You're going to get rickets.
Yes.
That kind of thing. Right? Like, that's what it is. That's a good children's
We were all brought up that way. You know what I mean?
And that's the thing is it does take a lot of talent to be able to write. Even if an adult never did read this, a kid still is going to be more attracted to a story with more natural dialogue, with interesting twists and turns. With this almost has sort of not a twist ending, but an interesting enough ending that you know that there's going to be more.
Yeah. Here's my question. You own a comic book store. You.
Me?
Yes. You own a comic book store.
Yes.
Like, what's the youngest person, I guess, with their mom and dad, or coming off the street to buy a comic book?
We're talking about 6 years old is probably the youngest we have.
Now, this is my question to Dale. Are these appropriate for that age demographic, or should they be 10 to 12? I mean,
I think both of the first 2, Shazam and Supergirl, would be appropriate for younger kids. I don't think Courtney Crumrin would. I mean, I'd wait till a kid
they're a little bit older.
Yeah, 9, 10 probably.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it would be too scary. It's a little bit like the Harry Potter books.
Okay.
The first, they get scarier as they go along. So as the kids age. But
some
of the Harry Potter books, I wouldn't give to a 6, 7-year-old kid.
No, I'm
way
completely
too scary.
dumbfounded. Like, my son's going to be 3. We read, every night. We read to him every night. I can't understand, like, okay, some of them are just ABC, like A, Apple, but whatever. But then you get into Dr. Seuss, and it's like, what am I doing to my son, really? Like, you know what I mean? Because this Dr. Seuss
might as well read them like Glengarry Glen Ross. ABC.
I might
always be closing.
I might as well, because, I don't know. On that note, we're going to go to break, come back, talk about what got us into comics, what was our first comic.
Awesome.
probably, and it was because my dad, he had an album collection, and he had the Steve Martin album, and I absolutely loved it. So I'd have to go with Steve first, and then it was probably Carlin. Yeah, because he had this George Carlin album that was amazing. Hi, I'm George. I'm gonna tell you my top favorite comics of all time. Start at number 5. This to be Kingdom Come by Alex Ross, amazing book. Then I would go Killing Joke, I think that's Alan Moore and Brian Boland. Then I would go Hellboy by Mike Mignola, did the whole thing himself, it's beautiful. Then Watchmen, and then for the top would be Keith Giffen and Kevin McGuire's run on the Justice League. Actually, anything they do, quite frankly.